Hey guys, this is Jack Nays with BassJack.com and BassJack TV. I wanted to share something cool that I came across last May on the Sacramento River. I showed up at dawn to go shad fishing, but there wasn't enough current to anchor because there was an incoming tide. So I decided just to troll for a couple hours until the outgoing tide got going, so that way I could go fish for shad. So I got to a stretch of river just below the Garcia Bend ramp in Sacramento and I started to notice some surface activity. So let's take a look at the video. Now the quality isn't great, but you can see what looks like striped bass slapping tails and fins on the surface. To me, it doesn't look like they are chasing bait. My first thought was that they were spawning. This went on for a couple hundred yards at least, and the interesting thing was that they would not touch any of my trolled lures at all. Check out this initial shot of my sonar screen. Now, in this frame, you can count close to 18 stripers hanging out towards the bottom of the water column. Now check out this sonar screen a few minutes later. There are literally too many to count, and this is by far the craziest sonar screen I've ever seen. After I gave up on trolling, I decided to soak some chicken livers that I had on board as bait, and I literally lowered it right in the middle of these fish and they would not touch it at all. I couldn't believe it. So I had about a 6-inch shallow running stick bait on the boat, and I started ripping it through the splashes, and probably after about 5 casts I landed about a 20-inch striper. And a few minutes later I got another one to bite, but right after that a sea lion came cruising through and the fish just disappeared. I mean, I couldn't even find him with the sonar unit. It was crazy. So I had kept one of these fish to eat, and I cut it open to see what it was feeding on. This thing was just stuffed with salmon smolts and crayfish, and I was told that the smolts were actually released upriver because of the big tides we were having. So let's take a look at the tide that we had that day. So here's the tide that we had that morning. It was almost a 3.63 foot high tide, and it was a full moon. And if you paid attention to the sonar screenshots, you would see that the water was about 67 degrees. So my question here is, were those stripers in a feeding frenzy on the salmon smolt, or were they spawning? Now, I don't have any knowledge of exactly what the spawning activity looks like, but I've heard that they spawn on the surface, so that's kind of where my initial thoughts were going. But I'd really love to hear your thoughts, so please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.